Hey everybody, how's it going? So I'm back again, and this time I am going to be teaching Songo. I'm particularly excited about this beat because it is one of the beats that I use a lot while playing in church. I know if you've seen previous videos on my channel, I did say I was going to teach it, and I do also have a video of me playing Songo in church. Um, so pretty much what entails with this beat is it follows the similar pattern of the reggaeton beat. Like I did with reggaeton, I'm gonna start teaching it simple, and then later on, I'm going to add um, to our foundation. So this video, I'm just gonna teach you the basics, but stay tuned for next videos that I'm gonna go a little more into depth and how to play Songo. So basically, for starting out, if you remember the reggaeton beat, sort of the time signature, well, not time signature per se, sort of the rhythm we've been following. It's one and two and one and two and then we built onto one and a two and one and a two and. So if you didn't see the reggaeton beat for one and a two and a little more advanced into how to play it, check that out so that way you know what we're talking about as it pertains to Songo. Now moving on to Songo, we're gonna be focusing on the rhythm using the beat. Let's just say like the beat signature one and a two. So it's gonna sound something like this. So starting out Songo, one a two, one a two, and 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 one a two. Seems complicated in the beginning, but we're gonna break it down. First, starting out with the hi hat. Like I said before, the main components of the drum set you wanna focus on when playing. You wanna focus on hi hat, the snare drum, and the bass drum. Everything else, like cymbals and toms, they're more to add flavors to the song, sort of like decorations on a Christmas tree. But the main foundation is hi hat, snare, and bass drum. So we're gonna focus on that. Okay, starting out with the hi hat. Okay, so for the hi hat, we're going to start with keeping the beat signature in mind. Um, one and a two and one and a two and the hi hat you're gonna hit it on just one and two. So as simple as that. As simple as that. One and a two and one and a two and one and a two and one and a two and. Now your hi hat is your timekeeper, so make sure you have that like down pat. So we have the hi hat, one and a two and one and a two and. All right, now time to fill everything else in. The next important thing to master is the bass drum. So the bass drum is gonna sound like this: one and a two and one and a two and one and a two and one and a two and. So basically, keeping that in mind, we have the hi hat, one and a two, and the bass drum is gonna sound on one and a two, and so it's gonna be on the a before two, as well as the and after two. So one and a two, and one and a two, and one and a two, and one and a two, and. So remember, bass drum is just gonna be on the um on the and after two and the a before two. One and a two and. So now we're moving on to the snare. So for the snare, you're gonna want to play it like this: 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and. So the snare, you're just gonna play it on the one after two on the. For the snare, you're gonna play it on the and after one. Very simple. That's the only time you're gonna hit the snare. So on, you just have to keep in mind your time signature 1 and A2 and it helps if you pronounce the words as you're playing the beat, so that way you have that down pat. Okay, from the top, hi-hat, bass drum, snare, and then we're gonna bring it all together. Hi-hat on 1 and 2. 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and. Now the bass drum, you're gonna play it on the A before 2 and the and after 2 while playing the hi-hat. So start on with the hi-hat, and then we're gonna bring the bass drum in there. 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and bass drum. 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and. All right. Now finally, we're gonna start bringing in the snare, and the snare is just gonna be on the and after one. That's the only time you're gonna hit the snare. All right, so it's gonna sound something like this. Like we did previously, we're gonna start with the hi-hat, bring in the bass drum, and then bring in the snare. So start on with the hi-hat. 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and. Now we're bringing in the bass drum. 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and 1 and A2 and 1. Now the snare drum. 1 A2 and 1 and 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 A2 and. Now for this particular beat, your hi-hat is your timekeeper. Make sure you have the hi-hat down pat. I know this beat, it's a little tricky, so start out slow. And then once you have it down pat slow, then you can start speeding it up. So, like this. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. Now, for choros, there's a verse and a chorus. For the verse, you're just going to stick to the hi-hat, but when your song goes into the chorus, you're going to want to move to the ride. Like I was saying, the ride, you want to hit it with the top side of the stick right here, laying down flat on the cymbal, on the bow of the cymbal. So it's going to sound like this. Now, I like to play on the bow of the ride because it fills up the song, but you could also play on the bell of the ride, which is the top part right here. So that will sound like this. Playing on the bell. 1, 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1. All right, so that's the basics of Songo. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Leave any comments in the comment section if you need me to break it down a little more. But yeah, I can. There will be future videos where we'll add on to this beat. Like I said, this is just the beginning. This is just the foundation, but we're going to build on this foundation. Until next time.